Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Giridhari Sri Radhe, Jaya Radha Giridhari Sri Radhe, Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadramani, Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadramani, Jaya Gauranitai Sri Sri Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Sri Sri Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Mahakara ki jai. Glories to the humble devotees. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhya kripa sindhubhya eva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning session of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Sama Mataji and Nandavaji Guruji, for giving me this opportunity to speak about Lord. And please bless me so that I can speak the correct message. Thank you so much. We'll read the Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. I'll share the screen. Please bear with me. Are you able to see, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, you can see it.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So we are reading Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. In the book, it is page number 908, chapter 33, a lot of ground to be covered. The festival directors were once again pleased with Prabhupada's lecture and Kirtana. But Prabhupada sent them word that he would not again sit through the other lectures, waiting his turn to speak. He had wearied of hearing opinions on Bhagavad Gita that avoided the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, surrendered to Sri Krishna, the absolute truth. Some speakers made the Gita an allegory. Some said Krishna was not an actual historical personality, and some simply took advantage of Gita's popularity to put forward their own political or social philosophies. A person with his own philosophy should write his own book, Prabhupada said, not use as a vehicle for his own ideas. The Bhagavad Gita, scripture worshipped by millions and respected throughout the world. Why should a conference under the name Gita Jayanti become a forum for speculative philosophies? Bhagavad Gita states that the Gita itself is the essence of knowledge, meant to benefit the entire world. The misrepresent the Gita, therefore, was the greatest service. Prabhupada felt that by sitting through such a program, he and his disciples were tacitly approving the blasphemous speeches. On the third night of the festival, Prabhupada and his disciples came early to the stage, having been promised by the festival directors that they would be first on the program. But when another speaker stood and began his discourse, Prabhupada, followed by his disciples, stood and walked off the stage. The festival director was quite disturbed by this, since most of the audience had come especially for the Kirtan. He pleaded the Prabhupada to return, but Prabhupada refused. He did agree, however, to send his disciples every night. They would speak and hold Kirtana. Srila Prabhupada disciples found the morning Bhagavatam classes in indoor especially relishable. Not only was the setting intimate, 10 devotees sitting with Prabhupada in his room, but the Bhagavatam story was intriguing, one they had never before heard. We are talking of Ajamila, a Brahmana residing in Kanyakubja, presently known as Kanpur. Prabhupada began and he narrated the story of Ajamila's life, pausing from time to read the Sanskrit text or to elaborate on the story and its lessons. Ajamila, a young Brahmana, had strictly followed the religious principles until he became infatuated with a prostitute. As Prabhupada lectured, he focused on the bogus speakers at the Gita Jayanti Mahotsava. There are so many things to know, but these things are not being discussed here. It is very cheap to do whatever you like. You simply meditate and you become God. So much cheating is going on all over the world. The so-called yogis, you meditate and as soon as you are realized, you become God. The Bhagavad Gita is being interpreted in so many different ways, and these so called explanations are being accepted by the innocent public as authoritative knowledge. Someone is explaining that Kurukshetra means this body and Pancha Pandava means the senses, but this is not explaining. How can you explain the Bhagavad Gita as it is when you don't understand it? Such an attempt is nonsense. Can I stop it here, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, no problem. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So now I'm going to share today's verse. Were you able to see, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji, you can see that.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, the creative impetus, chapter 12th, the Rahugana converges with Jarabharata, and verse number 4. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय यदा योगेश्वर दृश्यमानं क्रियाफलं सद् व्यवहारमूलं न हि अञ्जस तत्त्वविमर्शनया भवान् अमुस्मिन् भ्रमते मनो मे यदा योगीश्वर दृश्यमानं क्रियाफलं सद् व्यवहारमूलं न हि अञ्जस तत्त्वविमर्शनाय भवनमुस्मिन् भ्रमते मनो मे यदा योगेश्वर दृश्यमानं क्रियाफलं सद्व्यवहारमूलं न हि अञ्जस तत्त्वविमर्शनाय भवानमुस्मिन् भ्रमते मनो मे. Anybody would like to read? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Yad aha yogeshara dishyamanam kriya phalam sad vyavahara mulam nahi anjasha tattva vimarshanya Bhavanamusmin Brahmate Mano Me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am also trying.
Thank you,
Jadaho
Prabhuji.
Yogeshwara
Yes, Prabhuji.
Drishyamanam Kriya Phalam Sadvyavahara Mulam Nahi Anjasa Tattva Vimorshonaya Bhavanamusmin Brahmate Manome. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yadaha
Dandavat Pranam,
Yogeshwara
please go ahead.
Drishyamanam Kriya Phalam Sadvyavaharo Mulam Nahi Anjasa Tattva Vimorshonaya Bhavanamusmin Brahmate Manome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. May I try, please? Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. Yeah, Hare
Yatha
Krishna. Please go ahead.
Yogeshwara Drishyamanam Kriyafalam Satyavaharamulam Nahi Anjasa Tattva Vimrashnaya Bhavanamusmin Brahmate Manome. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Anybody would like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yet that which Aho have said, Yoga Ishvara, O Master of mystic power, Drishyamanam, being clearly seen, Kriyaphalam, the results of moving the body here and there, such as feeling fatigue, Sat existing, Vyavaharo Mulam, whose basis is etiquette alone. No, not he, certainly, Anjasa, on the whole, or in fact, Tattva Vimorshonayo, for understanding the truth by consultation. Bhavan, your good self. Amushmin, in the explanation. Brahmate is bewildered. Manaha, mind, me, mine. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody would like to take translation and purport?
May I please, Mataji? Hare Krishna. May
Yes,
I please?
Mataji, please.
Translation by Srila
Yes,
Prabhupada.
Mataji, please go ahead.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Master of yogic power, you said that fatigue resulting from moving the body here and there is appreciated by direct perception. But actually, there is no fatigue. It simply exists as a master of formality. By such inquiries and answers, no one can come to the conclusion of the absolute truth. Because of your presentation of this statement, my mind is a little disturbed. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Srila
Hare
Prabhupada ki jai. Formal enquiries and answers about the bodily conception do not constitute knowledge of the absolute truth. Knowledge of the absolute truth is quite different from the formal understanding of bodily pains and pleasure. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna informs Arjun that the pain and pleasures experienced in relation to the body are temporary. They come and go. One should not be disturbed by them, but should tolerate them and continue with spiritual realization. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I'll read translation one more time. O Master of yogic power, you said that fatigue resulting from moving the body here and there is appreciated by direct perception, but actually there is no fatigue. It simply exists as a matter of formality. By such inquiries and answers, no one can come to the conclusion of absolute truth. Because of your presentation of this statement, my mind is little disturbed. Thank you so much. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायसु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मूकं करोति पादं कमङ्गं लङ्घयते गिरिं Yatkrupathamaham Vande Sri Gurum Denatarinam Paramanandamadhamam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have been discussing the pastimes of Jadabharat here. And in this chapter, especially Rahugana converges with Jadabharat. We are hearing some more inquiries from Rahugana, and these were answered by Jadabharat. Basically, if you see the pastimes of Jadabharat from previous chapters, once he from a body of Jadabharat, so he was behaving like a madman, dumb man, and innocent man. He doesn't know anything. He's wandering here and there, but he's carrying Lord inside. And so for outer world, he's looking like a madman. So one time Rahugana, so he was going in a palanquin, and some of carriers, they were carrying the palanquin to King Rahugana. One of the palanquin, the carrier, he was missing. So they called Jadabharata to carry the palanquin. So that time, so they were observed that he was not carrying properly. And because of his motions, the palanquin was imbalanced. It's not carrying properly. And the king was moving here and there. And so he shouted at Jadabharat, so are you alive? Why you are doing like this? So I am a master, I am a king. I have authority to punish you. So he was chastising Jadabharat. That time Jadabharat answered King Rahugana that I am not a body, I am soul. So these things like fatigue, physical elements like hunger, thirst, fatigue, these are all only bodily symptoms. So it is not for soul. So these answers, and also he said, you are saying master, I am servant. So these are temporary designations. So these things, these elements cannot help you to know the absolute truth. So by these answers, King Rahugana got so bewildered. Again, he was saying that how you are saying the soul is not affected. We are hunger, we are thirsty. So it is also affects the soul, because when your mind is agitated and your intelligence is not work, and the immediate, the next door neighbor is soul only, it gets affected. And also he was given the analogy in previous chapters. So in the pot, the milk along with rice is boiling. Slowly the rice starts boiling, and the milk also they both mix and they cook. So in this way, so by the effect of physical elements, the intelligence, mind, the soul also get affected. How I can understand this? So you are saying that, so fatigue, there is no fatigue for the soul, but you are saying that there is no effect of these physical elements to soul. These are the bodily elements only. How can I understand? I got really bewildered. I got confusion. Here we can see there are two questions asked by King Rahugana to Jadabharata. The first one, you are saying there is no fatigue for the soul. And the second one, by these philosophical speculations, we cannot come to the conclusion. So these questions are put forward in front of Jadabharat by Rahugana. These two questions are so valid, very good questions to understand. And in this purport, we can see Prabhupada explanation in the purport, we can see that he is disputing the Mayavadi philosophies. And here Jadabharat is explaining, he is not arguing that whether soul is affected or not affected. So he's just saying that it gets affected, but you should not disturb by that, and you have to tolerate it. The first question he was asked, how you can say that the soul is not affected? That is the first question. So Jadabharat is saying that the soul is not affected. So that means the soul will not get disturbed. You have to tolerate. In the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 14th verse, Krishna says to Arjuna got bewildered actually. So he saw his own cousins, relatives on the other side. He got really bewildered. And so Krishna is saying that Matras parsastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agama payana nityas tan tipiksattva bharata. So these temporarily designations like cold, heat, these are like a summer and winter. They come and go. They appear and they disappear. So you don't need to do anything with it. We have to tolerate. As a devotee, we should not disturbed by these elements, these characters. So we have to tolerate. So that is the explanation given to the first question. And also in the Shastras, it is said that the 6 things, these factors, 6 factors, they affect the body and also soul. If you are hunger, so can we focus on the chanting, focus on the devotion? So we have to eat something. That means soul also get disturbed. If you are thirsty, you have to drink some water. So that time also your mind gets agitated. Your intelligence also little bit disturbed. Soul also get disturbed. So hunger, thirst, old age. So old age also it affects the body and also soul. Why? The old age we cannot see, we cannot hear, we cannot focus. So our memory slowly diminishes and we cannot hear anything. We cannot do properly, cannot focus on devotion. Soul also get affected by old age and disease. If you are sick, so the soul also get affected because your sadhana will go down. So when you are sick, you cannot able to do all this. And also the other factor, bewilderment. So that's what happening to Arjuna. So Arjuna got bewildered and he is not able to do his Kshatriya dharma. He, as a Kshatriya, he has to fight. He is not able to do that dharma. So he got bewildered. And also attachment. That is the biggest problem. So for body, so because of the bodily attachment, soul also get lots of desires and it has to come to the material pool again and again. So these are not only for bodies, these 6 things. So what are they? Hunger, thirst, old age, disease, bewilderment, and attachment. So these elements, they not only affect the body, they also indirectly affect the soul also. That time we cannot focus the chanting. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Jihvara lalasa iti dhara sisnodara parayana Krishna nahi paya. So if you are engaging with sense activities, always you are eating without discrimination, you are satisfying the tongue and genitals and udara, the stomach. So you are always after these things, the Krishna, you cannot get Krishna. That means your focus will be loose. You cannot focus. So these things should be satisfied. That means if you are hunger, you have to eat. If you are thirsty, you have to drink. So here, the Arjuna, he got bewildered. Krishna is saying that you have to tolerate these things. They come and go. They come and go. The soul should not get disturbed. You have to tolerate these things. We are learning from the first questions. So the 2 questions: why the soul is not getting affected, as you said. And the second question, so Jarabharata is asking, by these conclusions, so I have learned so many things from my friends, from my relative, my guru, so about the body and soul. But you are saying that we cannot come to the conclusion by these elements. So how it is possible? Here we can see that Mayavadis, they think this hunger, thirst, this is also illusion. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is explaining it is not illusion. It is also affecting the soul. So you have to take care of these also by providing some elements to satisfy this. So this is disputing the Mayavadi philosophy about. So they are saying that it is illusion. Prabhupada saying that it is not illusion. You have to tolerate it. So definitely it get disturbed, but you have to take proper measures to overcome this. So according to Sankhya philosophy, there are 23 elements. Among the 24 elements, 23 elements are asat. Only sat is soul. But Prabhupada is explaining soul also get affected by these 23 elements. We have to take care of this. So that is the difference between Mayavada philosophy and what Bhagavad Gita is explaining us. And what about the second question? Come to the second question. How we can understand the philosophical speculations cannot give the conclusion of the absolute truth. First of all, we have to understand what is absolute truth. In the first canto, second chapter, 11th verse says there are different types of transcendentalists. Vadanti tat tattva vidas. Tattvam jnanam advayam. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdate. So here, these three types of transcendentalists, they meditate on absolute truth in a different way, in different features. Some of the philosophers, they meditate on Brahmajyoti, the light emerging from the body of the Lord, so like a Brahmajyoti. And some of the transcendentalists, they want to know about the Paramatma realization. And some of the transcendentalists, bhaktas, they worship the absolute truth, that Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So absolute truth is nothing but three features of the Lord. So you have to understand what is the, among these, the Bhagavan realization is the topmost. We can achieve only by bhakti process. So the other process by Jnana Yoga, by Dhyana Yoga, we may come to up to the Brahmajyoti realization and Paramatma realization. These two are incomplete because they have only Sat and Chit potencies. But Bhagavan is with 6 opulences and he is with the 3 pages, Sat, Chit, Ananda. So that is very important to understand the feature of absolute truth with Sat, Chit, Ananda. So it is a Brahmajyoti feature also there, Paramatma feature also there. That means Sat and Chit along with bliss, unlimited happiness also there. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in the 10th chapter, the 8th verse, Ham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam vartate iti matvam bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. That means who the wise person who knows me as it is, who knows the knowledge of me, he is the wise person. So he knows I am the cause of all causes. He is the wise person. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also said that Kutastha Kusmala Madam Same. So here Krishna is saying that, so you are Aryan, but you are behaving like a non-Aryan. Anaryam Justam Asavargam. Akirtikaram Arjuna. So you are behaving like a Anaryan. So what is the meaning of Aryan? Aryan means civilized life. So who knows the value of life? Who knows the aim of life? So Kshatriya, as a Kshatriya, you should know the dharma. You have to fight. But you are behaving like non-Aryan. So the non-Aryan people, those who have no aim of life, they don't know the value of life, they don't know the religious principles. As a Kshatriya, you know all the religious principles, what is dharma, what is the goal of life, but you are behaving like a non-Aryan. Krishna is chastising Arjuna. And also in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita and the third verse, Lokesmin Vidya Nishta Pura Prokta Mahanaga. Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. So here Krishna is saying that you can engage your senses to know the absolute truth. Those people who are engaging the senses properly in the process of devotional service, they can understand the absolute truth actually. If you are not engaging the senses in the understanding of Lord, if you are engaging senses only for sense gratification, you cannot understand. So Krishna is also saying that engaging in devotional process, he is recommending the process of bhakti yoga to understand Lord. And also there are so many philosophies, they do research to know the absolute truth. When they come in the Krishna consciousness, that is the end of their research. That means this is the purifying process. Krishna consciousness is purifying process. So we cannot purify our senses by mental speculation. So by thinking, oh, this is like this, so this is like this, we cannot assume, we cannot do the experiments, we cannot think differently. With our speculations, we cannot purify our senses. The only process to purify our senses is bhakti yoga. And also Krishna is saying that so engage the senses in the service of Lord, bhakti yoga. And also when Saunakadi rishis asked the Sutta Goswami in the first chapter of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, they asked, what is the aim of human being, goal of life, and what is the essence of the life? So Sutta Goswami explained what Srila Sukadeva Goswami explained to Parikshit Maharaj. That is in the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. So he says that Savai so paro dharma ito bhakti ato kshaja. That means serving the Lord, doing the bhakti for is the only aim of human being. There is no other aim for the human, because we get the human form of life very rarely. So we should not waste it. So by keeping other aims, the success for the material gains, to become the highest positions, highest education. So we should not keep our aim for the material gains. The highest aim is to know the absolute truth. So to do the bhakti to Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. So that is the highest aim of our human being. And also the 18th chapter, Krishna says Bhaktanam Abhijanati. So by bhakti yoga only you can come to me. And also in the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it says that Namam Drikshno Muda Prapadyante Naradama. So there are 4 kinds of people, they cannot understand Krishna, absolute truth. They cannot come to understand. So lowest among the mankind, foolish people, Maya Prahuta Jnana, whose knowledge is covered by illusion. They cannot understand. And Asaram Bhavamasetaha, with the demonic nature. These 4 type of people, they cannot understand the absolute truth. So who are in the ignorance, who are foolish, who are always lazy, so always confusion, so they cannot understand the Lord. And also with demonic propensities, they cannot understand. So whose knowledge is illusion, covered by illusion, they cannot also understand. So these are the things, the things we have to understand means we have to come out of that illusion. The Bhagavatam is propounding highest dharma. Dharma projita kaitama atra namo. So that means this is propounding the highest dharma. It is differentiating what is illusion, what is reality. So Prabhupada is explaining that reality. So absolute truth cannot be perceived by other processes like Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. Absolute truth can be perceived only through the Bhakti Yoga. And Sukadeva Goswami also explained in the first canto, second chapter. So there are series of some slokas. It explains the complete Bhakti Yoga, starting from Shraddha to Prema Bhakti, attaining the knowledge of Supreme. So in the 16th, second chapter, 16th verse of first canto explains Sushrutu Shraddhadhanyasya Vasudeva Kadaraji Syan Mahasevaya Vipran Punyatirtha Nishevana. That means by serving the sadhus, by doing their service, the sadhus means we are free from the vices, lust, anger, greed. They are pure devotees of Lord. If you serve them, automatically what happens? Your eagerness to hear Bhagavatam increases. Eagerness to know Lord increases. Your faith increases. So the process of the 9 steps of devotion is started by Shraddha. And Navavidha Bhakti also started by Shravanam. So if you have a faith, if you continuously hear, so you can understand the reality, absolute truth. It starts by having faith and serving the Mahatmas, pure devotees. So what happens? Your eagerness to hear increases. Then what happens if you hear? Sravanam is the first step for the devotion service. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, like this. So by hearing, you can understand. By serving the sadhus, you get that affinity to hear. In the second, the next one, 17th one, Sunnatam Swakadanityam, Punyasravana Kirtanam. Hridayantasti abhadrani dinoti suhatstam. So by hearing, so Krishna in our heart, he cleanses all our anarthas, lust, greed, anger, all these kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsayanas. He removes all the anarthas. The second, that is the second, anartha nivritti. So we started faith, and we started sadhu sangha, and we started bhajana kriya. The bhajana kriya is the Navavidha Bhakti. We started hearing, and we got that affinity to hear. So slowly Krishna appears in our heart, and he removes all our anarthas. So next, Nashtapraya Subhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So that the next step, what happens when the Lord creates all our, the cleanses all our anarthas. So actual devotion service, the bhakti is established in our heart. So by what? We are hearing and we are doing bhajana kriya, anarthas are removed, and devotional service is established. See, the Bhagavatam is explaining systematic process. This is not just speculation. It's not a scientific method, but it is the scientific method given by the Bhagavatam. It's a systematic process. So do this. This is the next step. This is the next step. It happens like this. The next step, what happens? The devotion service is established. Then Tata Raja Tamo Bhava Kamalobha Dayarjita Eta Chaitair Anavrutti. That means what happens? All your Tamaguna, Rajoguna removed. Why? You already started Bhajana Kriya. You already hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. All your anarthas are removed and your Bhakti Yoga started, established. That's why you come to the mode of goodness. Sattvam siddhe prasidati. So your mode of goodness is established along with your bhakti. Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion says that is the starting point of your devotion. At least you have to come to the level of mode of goodness. Not in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of rajoguna, passion, you cannot understand. You have to come to the level of mode of goodness. That's what it is saying in this 19th verse. So all your anarthas are gone and all your modes, you are transcending the modes like ignore and passion, come to the level of goodness. So when you are in the goodness, what happens next? Evam prasanna manaso. Bhagavan Bhakti Yogita. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. So this is the actual step happening. Here you understand, you are already bhakti is established, all your anarthas are removed, you are in the mode of goodness. The next step is, what is that? You get the scientific knowledge of the Lord. That means you understand. So he is a Bhagavan. He is with 6 opulences. He is Sachidananda Vigraha. He is the cause of all causes. He is the fountainhead of all the qualities. So, Isvara, Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Nadi Adi Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. You come to that point. So, he is the absolute truth. He is a complete, Purnamada Purnamidam, is the complete whole. So, that knowledge arrived in your heart by doing all this. So, in the beginning, you got a faith and you started sadhu seva. By that sadhu seva, you got the affinity to hear. With hearing, what happens? Krishna appears and he cleanses your anarthas. Bhakti is established. So after bhakti, what happens? You come to the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness, sattva. Sattva is established. In that sattva guna, when you are continuing hearing, you are continuing bhakti, come to the level of goodness. In that way, so what happens? You get the scientific knowledge to understand Krishna. So that is the very, very important step to understand. So the actual transformation happening in here. So when you are established in Bhakti Yoga and when you are in the mode of goodness, that knowledge come to you, not by other speculations. That was Jadavarat was speaking in this verse. So in this chapter. So he got confused. King Rahugana got speculations. He got so much information from the other side, body and soul. But Prabhupada is saying that unless you add Bhagavatam to the body soul concepts, it is not complete. You cannot understand. Just like zeros, there are so many zeros. Unless you add one, there is no value. In the same way, you can hear so many philosophies, so many lectures, so many knowledge about the soul and body. But unless you come and mix with this Bhagavatam concepts, Bhagavad Dharma, so there is no completion. So, evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Jnanam. That means here we can understand that by understanding the Bhakti Yoga, by establishing a mode of goodness, we come to the knowledge of Bhakti about the Supreme Lord. Then what happens? The 21st verse of the same chapter explains Vinjate Hridaya Grandhi. What it means? All your attachments are cut. Knot of that attachment will be cut. So till now, in the till the 20th verse, we are discussing the process of establishment of Bhakti Yoga and knowing about the Lord. In this verse, what is the consequence when you are in the mode of goodness, when you understand the knowledge of the Lord, when you are doing the Bhakti Yoga, when you are doing the Sadhu Seva, when you are hearing Bhagavatam, what is the consequence? You are doing all this process. The last verse, 21st verse explains Vinjate Hridaya Gandhis. So your knot of attachment will be cut. Chinyante sarva karmasaha. So all your misconceptions, before we have lots of conceptions by mental speculations, philosophical speculations, by so many confusions, by different philosophies. We read this book, that book, so many books, so lots of confusions. That confusions will go end. That means we come to the conclusion, this is the absolute truth. This is the actual process. There is no other way. Kriyante is karmani. All your fruitive actions, karmakandi actions, ritualistic process, thinking Hare Krishna mantra is it's imaginary. So it works like other mantras. Our interpretations. So Hare Krishna mantra also helps like this. We can do this mantra like other mantras also. We can do Krishna Bhakti like other demigods also. So all the interpretations, confusions, misconceptions will go away. All that ritualistic activities will go away. We'll come to the platform of pure bhakti. This way, Evatma Nishwaraha. We can see ourselves inside, and we can see the master of the self also. We can see the self and master of the self, soul and super soul. So this is where we can understand. This is very, very important step. Reviving our constitutional position happens in this step. When your misconceptions gone, your all protective actions gone, your attachments gone, you come to the state of pure bhakti, where we can see Lord as it is, and we can see ourselves also. We are self. So there is a super soul also. He is controlling us. So we are not only body, we are a soul. So body is different, soul is different. So realization, jnana, self-realization, we are servants of Lord. So we are separate from the Lord. We are Anu, he is a Vibhu. Our constitutional position, our Sanatana Dharma is serving him. So we are the servants, he is the master. So we can come to that, the final stage of our constitutional position, real identity as we are servants. Then we progress with our devotion. We advance in the devotion. And the difference here also given, when some sufferings or accidents or some miseries come in the life, the devotees, they don't feel it. They feel there is a Lord's hand all the times. So Lord's will is there, Lord's plan is there. So we have to accept, we go accordingly. Even accident happens, they don't mind it. It's okay, Lord will take care of it. We are getting purified. The non-devotees, they lament for their whole life. They get depressions, they get diseases out of it. They lament because there is no concept of absolute. There is no concept of God realization. There is no concept of surrendering there, because they cannot understand. As long as their senses are engaged in the material gains, material works, they cannot revive their constitutional position unless they come out of that concept, engaging the senses for their own satisfaction, and they come to the sense of pleasing the Lord. That's where they revive their constitutional position as a servants. We are servants of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of the human life. Even in the fifth canto, fifth chapter, and the first verse, Rishabhadev, he says that tapodivyam. So your human life is not meant to like enjoying hogs and dogs. It's not like that. Your human form of life is meant to do some austerities, penances, to attain the divine position of devotional service. Unless you get that divine position, you cannot understand the Lord. That's why we have discussed in the previous verses, 6 verses. Unless you get the bhakti established in your heart, that knowledge will not come. The scientific knowledge will not come. So that is the actual process. We cannot understand these concepts, absolute truth, by mental speculation, philosophical speculation, by our conclusions, misinterpretations. So there is a process to understand absolute truth. It's not like that we can understand by any philosophy, by any lecture, by anyone. So there is a authoritative process is given, bona fide process is given to understand the absolute truth. So this knowledge can slowly achieved by our spiritual masters, gurus. We have to surrender to them. So yesterday also we have celebrated Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. So there many devotees, they talked about the contribution of Srila Prabhupada. The major contribution is books, his books, scriptures. So by reading these books, we can come to the conclusion of absolute truth. So Prabhupada has given so many ways to understand this absolute truth, to come to the level of goodness, to come to the level of bhakti yoga. So how can come to the mode of goodness? Raising in the morning, attending the Mangalarati. So deity worship, association, distributing books, chanting, eating prasadam. So many ways are given to understand the absolute by Srila Prabhupada. So today we have discussed what are the two questions asked by King Rahaguna. So one is why these miseries, these physical elements like hunger, thirst, they are not affected by soul. So he got so many confusions, and he is giving why it is not affected, why you are saying like this. And also he asked second question, why these philosophical speculations give the understanding of absolute truth. So by our these little explanations, we can understand that by these bodily and soul concepts, unless you add Bhagavatam concepts, cannot understand completely the absolute truth. So Prabhupada has given so many ways to understand this. Just by following these processes, like Shraddha, so Susura Shraddhadanasya. So by having complete faith, serving the gurus, serving the sadhus, serving the Vaishnavas, we get the affinity. By hearing this, the Krishna established in our heart, and he cleanses it. Immediately bhakti is established, and we come to the level of platform of mode of goodness, then we can understand absolute truth. There is no other way. And finally, what is the consequence of bhakti yoga also we discussed. By understanding absolute truth also discussed. All our attachments will go, all our fruitive actions will go, all our misconceptions will go, and we can come to the level of pure bhakti yoga. Then we can revive our constitution position as a servants of Lord, and we start serving him, and slowly we can advance from there. So by this, I would like to conclude the class. Please, anything, so you can add, any comments to it. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam,
What,
Prabhuji.
what a wonderful class explaining the understanding of King Rahuguna and his slow realization of the importance of Jaravarat, his speeches, how he understood that, and he tried to contemplate on the understanding how to differentiate the body and soul with the two questions: why soul is not affected and how to understand the soul. So we have very nicely make us understand that the body, though the soul is inside the body, soul also get disturbed by the six factors you mentioned, that hunger, thirst, old age, disease, then bewilderment, attachment. But to understand that thing, this is the function of the body, and body reacted on that. But according to Bhagavad Gita, this 2:14, It tells us, yeah, it happens. You can see outward, apparently, this is happening. But to tolerate that is the knowledge or your understanding and your realization about the absolute truth. That you have nicely mentioned through the various references from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and finally concluded with the processes from 1.2, that is Bhagavatam chapter 2, that from 16 to 21 gives the classic examples of the processes, how this actually happens, how we, how our misgivings or misconception about the philosophical conception of absolute truth can absolutely be vanquished by following the process which is given in Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is the source of knowledge that realizes us the absolute truth. And the processes from 16 to 21 completely uh, vanquishes our misunderstanding about this absolute truth, and is a sequential process that help us to understand and what are the processes that is given. And finally, you can see we following the process as Prabhupada mentioned. You have to follow the process as is given. No jumping here and there. You follow the process strictly, you will feel the understanding of the absolute truth. And finally, that text, which is very, very important, Vidyate Hriday Granthi Chiddante Sarva Samshaya Shiyante Chasya Karmani Drishta Eva Atmanushare. And by following this process, as mentioned in Bhagavatam, you can absolutely be free from all these illusions as understood by King Rahuguna, and it's cleared by Jarabharat that when you do all these processes, you finally see the Lord. By seeing the Lord, all this um, entanglement will immediately be vanquished. So that's the process. And as we celebrated yesterday, Srila Prabhupada Jayanti, and that absolutely the word, the sentences, that books are the basis. By reading Srila Prabhupada books, his instruction, you can completely understand the absolute truth as it is mentioned in the Shastras. Thank you so much for clarifying the two questions so nicely. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. So soul definitely not get affected when you are in the
Yes.
Bhakti Yoga. And also the word Drishyamanam is used here, direct perceivance. So there is a perception and a direct perception. Perception means if you are seeing the moon and you are seeing the sun, you are getting, everybody is getting the heat. So we can see that. But the hunger is particular body only. So you are getting hunger. You can feel the hunger. Somebody may not feel hunger. Somebody may not feel the thirst. This the direct perception is different from the perception. That also highlighted in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. So that is also very important point. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for a nice class and particularly bringing out the difference. I mean, often the people do not realize, I mean, and common man I am talking about, not the devotees, the Deho and the Dehi, there's the two in Ketra and Ketrogya. The person inside the body and the body itself. And all this happens, what we see in the physical body doesn't happen to the soul or the Ketragya. Because and whenever we come to this material world, there is a great knot. I mean, great bondage happens between the false ego and the body and the soul. And the soul is bonded so much that it is often misleaded and started thinking that what is happening in the body is really the problem of the soul, but it is not. And the purpose, and where you have very nicely told, and the very way to get rid of that is through cutting the bondage. That bondage, and I think it is in Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 15. 1 to 15 it is there. Jad anudhashna yukta karma granthi nibandhanas chindanti ko vidastasya ko no puryat katharuti. By hearing, if by hearing the Lord, this detachment goes, and the intelligent or the experienced person cut this bondage by hearing hearing about the Lord. So if it is the case, so why any other person should not do it? That is the way, in fact, for us, for any of the devotees to hear from the Lord. And as you have very nicely told, it is not a speculative knowledge. Only by hearing what is there in the Shastra, we hear it, and by following our acharyas, we following their directions. If we hear them, and when we hear that, and it is also given, when we hear it from the devotees, it becomes very powerful. And it is given in, I think, 3:25:25. When we hear in presence with the devotees, it becomes very powerful. So that is a way for devotional service, and only by devotional service ultimately one can realize the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. And the Paramatma aspect and the Brahman aspect are lower situation. It's not the full knowledge, incomplete knowledge rather. But a devotee only knows the full aspect of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. And that is what our acharyas and Srila Prabhupada has told us to follow. And you have very nicely expressed it. Thank you very much, Mataji, for your nice class.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for adding so many points, concepts. Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to add any points? If nobody is there, we can conclude the
Yes,
class.
Mataji, there is no other person.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So,
Thank you.
class may be concluded. Thank you very much.
Vancha kalpatarubhyaja,
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
Prabhupada
माताजी की जय।
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
जय।
Gautama
हरि हरि बोल।
all glories to the assembled
हरे
devotees.
कृष्ण।
Krishna.